Hi, my name is Gil Robertson, president of the African American Film Critics Association. Today, we are delighted to be talking to one of our all-time favorites, Miss Angela Bassett, and someone who looks to be one of our new favorites, Mr. Greg Tarzan, who are the stars of the upcoming Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. We're going to kick things off by introducing you to the AAFCA members on the call today, starting with Nick Hamilton in Los Angeles, Penny Harper in New York, New York, Nancy Green in Los Angeles, Brandon Collins in New York, New York, Tatiana in New York, Dana Abercrombie in New York, Kim Singleton in New York, Jerry in New Jersey, and Derek Dunn in Washington, D.C. I'm going to let you guys do what you do so well, and I'll see you on the other side.
How's it going? Derek Dunn, Reviews and Dunn. Quick question from Miss Bassett. Ma'am, how did you approach playing the president again this go round?
Well, taking all my cues from the script, actually, wonderful, and from my director, who gave me all the time in the world to get it right, to try different things, which I appreciate. I love options. I love an option, but of course, looking towards um, uh, some of the strong, intelligent, full of integrity women that we have who are public servants, and be that Stacey Abrams or Kamala Harris, Barbara Jordan, Shirley Chisholm. Um, I took a cue from them, and then of course just placed myself in this world where the stakes are extremely high, and where you need a calm presence, a strong presence, an assured presence, and someone who would weigh the options and remain malleable and open to a pivot if necessary.
Good morning. My name is Penny Malloy Harper from Pembroke TV, and I have a question for both of you wonderful people, Mrs. Bassett and Mr. Uh, Mr. Davis. I found that this particular episode was very multicultural, and I think maybe was that intentional. And I just wanted to ask if you felt that that multicultural approach and that global approach was something that aided in you creating your characters or enhanced your characters' interaction with the protagonist.
I think it's reflecting what we're seeing in the world today. We're seeing, people like ourselves in the positions that we're playing in these films, which is a great thing. There's a change, and it feels really good to see it on screen as well. Where a wide audience across the world is going to see this, and is going to influence young people younger than us, and wanting to maybe be a president or a CIA agent or be an actor. For me, seeing Denzel growing up was a person that I was excited to see on screen, and he's the reason I became an actor. So yeah, I did it help us get into character, knowing that this is reflecting our world. Yeah, I guess I can say it did.
That's an aspect that I appreciate also. Not, whether it's also that women are in positions of
There we
power,
go. Yeah.
and are just as strong physically and compelling
Hmm.
as some of the male characters and spies. And I think that's just a testament to the forward thinking and wide thinking of McHugh
Hmm.
and of Tom Cruise, who's been at the helm of it for decades now.
Yeah.
I guess it started immediately with Ving Rhames being, this tech whiz
Yes.
from, from the go, from Get, the only actor aside from Tom who's been in
Every last film. Wow.
all eight of the
Yes.
films,
Wow.
you know.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, Dana Abercrombie of the Coalition. My question is for both of you. This is about kind of machine versus humanity, humankind. And I wanted to talk about, for both of you, finding the humanity within the characters of doing what's right as opposed to doing what other people want you to do, that act of selflessness?
That act of sacrifice. I think that's at the core of the Mission Impossible. And yeah, always doing or attempting or wanting, desiring to do the right thing. Um, and the sacrifices made. You know how broken up he is when one of his team members, when something happens to them. It's always about his family. They are his family, I guess, ultimately. Right?
Yeah. Movies are about, you know, the human experience, and I think as an audience member you can relate to what Ethan and all of our characters have to go through, you know, the decisions that we make about, are we making the right decision? And when you watch, you know, any type of movie, and this one in particular, you ask yourself, like, okay, whose side would I be fighting on in this situation? It's just a human experience that you would go through when you're watching this film.
That's always what's more interesting to me, I think.
Mhm.
You know, it's great to see fantastic, you know, stunts and
Yeah.
things blow up and
Yeah.
buildings fall down and, you know, but I want to know how we relate. I'm interested in how we relate. I mean, that's why I became an actress also, you know, become an actor to illuminate the human experience, you
And
know, just not the car crash.
yeah, because the car crash means nothing. I think unless you know who's in it and who's the person being affected outside of the person being in a car crash. And I was telling you off camera how much I really loved your character because of what you go through. And it's subtle moments that you have that we don't even, as an audience, don't even realize what's going on. But it's just maybe a look at a picture frame, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what you're going through as a human being of potentially maybe losing somebody. And your scenes are so powerful because you know how to channel that human experience and display it on screen for everybody to live through you, which is amazing and
Yeah, hopefully
something.
you get that you go home
Yeah.
to someone, you know, to
Yeah.
a family, to a husband, to a child. Will that child come home in the end? Because the situation is so dire. And in this one, it may be the end of it all, of mankind. So,
Hello, Nick Hamilton, Nightcast Media. Congratulations to you both. My question is for Miss Angela Bassett. How has your character grown from the moment that you arrived in this iconic franchise to current, and what moment or moments have stood out to you being a part of this franchise?
well, you started out, Erica, you know, started out as director of the CIA. So I suppose she's, you know, and I just would think about the woman she's had to be, or the sacrifices she's had to make, or the intellect she's had to exhibit, you know, to as a woman, as a Black woman, the obstacles that she's, you know, had to, you know, jump over, traverse, reckon with, to be placed in this seat of power. So I think she's a very confident woman, but I think she's incredibly skilled and diplomatic and all of those things. So I was surprised when I became the president. That sort of happened during COVID. You know, and it said there was a little Easter egg of
The
a
picture
photograph.
on the
Yeah, the
background,
picture.
yeah.
So I appreciate that as Angela, you know, and was thrilled that I was able to come back as the president.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Hello, Jeree with the TV Cave. How are you?
Hi there.
Hi. So my question is for both of you. Mission Impossible is a lengthy franchise that helps shape pop culture. Did it feel any different going in filming this, knowing that it was the last one? If so, how?
Did you know it was the last one?
I
Do you
don't
feel it's the last
I didn't
one?
feel it. You go in there, you know, the job is this one. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what I think we all went into saying, hey, we want to make this a great film. And I think we did that. I mean, it's up to y'all to make the ultimate decision on if we did it or not, but we gave our all to it. We put up some great performances. This one included. This one especially. You know, Tom did some amazing work, you know, with his acting and his stunts, and everybody just played an important part in, you know, giving the audience what we feel that they deserve. And that's an entertaining, heartfelt movie.
Hi, Nancy Green here with Run for Keith. And my question is actually, it's kind of a two-parter, but it's all together. And it was brought to me by this morning, I happened to see a coyote in the road, and that reminded me of Collateral. And that scene was actually not planned and it was put into the movie. But with Mission Impossible, it seems like there's not a lot of space to have scenes that aren't planned. From what I've watched and read, it's very intensive where everything has to be very planned out because of the scenes with the action and all of the stunts and everything. So I wanted to know for you guys, one, were there any scenes that you guys kind of felt like maybe were improvised that you wish had been in the movie that weren't, or that were in the movie? And two, what did you learn about being in this movie or in these movies, because you've been in multiple ones, that about the intensity of filming these kinds of action scenes? I hope that was clear.
That's a two-parter.
Sort of. I tried to condense it.
What about the coyote?
Yeah. I don't
Coyote.
know.
I missed something with the coyote.
The coyote and Collateral.
Right, because that was actually, it was kind of an improvised scene. It wasn't a planned, they just were filming it and the coyote was in the road. It was when Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise's characters were in the car and they were going and they kind of stopped because there was a coyote walking through, but that scene was
okay.
accidental. And so it kind of made me think of what I was watching about Mission Impossible.
Well, I didn't have any impromptu, moments like that because we were sort of in the enclosed set.
Right.
Now, near the end of the movie, one of the final scenes with the president, when, we've coming to the conclusion of, do we save or is it unsavable, this world of ours? That one was improv a little. I mean, that moment, that day, in that moment.
Oh, wow.
It was like, what? Do what? What? McHugh. So that was interesting, It's
Yeah.
like, what am I, who's talking to me on the phone? Who am I talking to? So that one was a sort of inspired moment of McHugh right there. So I'm just following his voice. I think we were up against the clock, but it actually, so I was very, I was curious to see it, and it worked great. And that was sort of inspired moment that he had right there in that moment.
I would say, I guess we don't have the scenes like the coyote walking across the street, but we have the moments where McHugh does have, like, you would do something and McHugh would have an idea and he's like, oh, I like what you did. And then it would like kind of spiral into something else. That's kind of like an improvised moment that, at first he was going one way and then you do something and he's like, oh, let's do this instead. And I saw a lot of that in the first movie where me and Shea Wiggum's character, we weren't supposed to be this funny duo that it turned out to be, and we ended up being, funny. And McHugh was like, just keep doing a little bit more of that. And we became that like kind of comedic relief in a sense. So I guess that's the inspiration comes from, he feeds off of the actors that he has to play with.
Okay, thank you. Thank
Your
you very
take
much.
on it was the coyote.
Yes,
In the
yes,
moment.
yes.
You would say,
Yes.
two coyotes.
Two
It's better
coyotes.
than one. Two funny
Two is
coyotes.
better than one, goddammit.
Thank you.
Hello, Kim Singleton, Considered Black Lip podcast out of New York City. And this question is for both of you. You both were in previous films of Mission Impossible. What have you brought new or different to your characters in this version of the film?
Both my character's very strong, I guess, whether she's the director of the CIA or now, the president, of the president, Madam President. But I think she's resolute and she's determined. And I think I hope you feel confident. She's not easily bowled over or walked over. So just more of that.
Yeah. My character, I feel like he had more of a backseat in the first one, following behind Shay's character, Briggs. because that was his his leader. And in this one, you see him break away from the pack and he become his own individual, his own character, and we really get to see who they guy is. And we saw a little bit of it in the end of the last film where he was questioning and showing his opinion, but now we see him actually follow his heart and what he feels is right. So you see a young boy mature into a man.
In addition, with my character, it occurred to me as you were saying that you see more of her, that she has a life outside of here. You know, the
You
more
didn't see that
humanity
in
of
the other
her,
one.
the
Yeah.
mother, you know,
Yeah.
that mothering aspect of her. So I think that's a softening, you
Mhm.
know, that gives a soft edge.
I didn't think about that. You don't see that in Fallout.
That and her, uh, the care that she has for her comrade, those who are in the room with her, you know, when something happens to one of her generals. So that the humanity and that heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done. And Greg, I'm glad they put you on the forefront because I was pumping my fist when you were kicking butt on the screen. Thank you. Great job.
Hi, Brandon Collins from the Media and Popcorn Podcast. Actually, to piggyback off of Kim's comment, my question is for Mr. Davis. Can you speak a little bit about your training, the intensity, the time commitment over these past Mission Impossible films? And honestly, how much of that work is actually reflected in the final film?
So when you join a mission film like this in the capacity that I was in as an agent, you start training immediately. So since I started this film in 2020, I jumped in like this immersive training program of martial arts and weapons training, dirt bike drifting, skydiving, everything.
Skydiving.
Everything. Tom is like, you need to be ready for whatever we throw at you because they come up with these things and they just want to like throw you into it. It's crazy. But as far as the fight sequence goes, I worked really hard with the fight coordinators, Ruda and Wade Eastwood, and that was intense. Me and Palm, it was training. We would work either before work, we was working on before work, and then after we was going over choreography. So it was a long process. As far as the fight scene goes in the film, time reasons, some things had to be cut out, unfortunately.
Did you hurt yourself?
I did. Honestly, I did hurt myself.
Because we had Tom hurt himself. He was back in 6 weeks.
I was.
I mean, a foot or something.
Well, okay, his hurt was a little different from mine. Mine was like a little bobo. His was actually
for a real.
His was actually a real thing. No, I didn't have that type of
That's
hurt.
good.
Yeah,
I'm
thank
glad.
goodness. They weren't gonna stop production for me. They was gonna try to replace me.
He will encourage you to jump out of a plane, though. He
did. He did. Yeah.
He asked me if I wanted to. I was like, I'm working, sir, on a movie. I must remain safe. Your movie, as a matter of fact.
Thank you so much. Great job for both of you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tatiana from New York City, and I'm curious to learn, and for both of you actually, what does it mean for you to be part of this franchise, and how do you see your character's legacy within it?
We've seen this franchise for 30 years, and that's no small feat. That's incredible. And the amazing characters who've come through, be they heroes or be they villains.
Mm-hmm.
And to be asked to join it, I never saw that coming in a million years. It was just something other, something out there, always saw myself as, a part of the audience. But to be asked to come along, it's just, is it a private pleasure? It's pleasurable. I enjoy that, and in this capacity as the president of the free world, it's a pretty amazing representation on that screen. And I don't take it lightly. I enjoy that. I think it's very important visual.
So yeah, the visual of you coming down the stairs was, that's when we really saw you of the Air Force One. That's when we really saw like, oh wow, this is a Black woman president. This is insane to see, and you just had so much, power and gravitas. It was nice. That whole scene itself is so powerful, and I tear up every time I see it.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
powerful.
Tarzan, did you want to add?
Oh me. Yeah, so I grew up watching these films, like you said, that's a great way you put it. You watch it as an audience member. And I wanted to do it because I fell in love with action films. Young boy doesn't want to do it, and I would be in my mom's living room in my tidy whities just shooting the bad guys and everything. And I remember this one moment we were in Dead Reckoning, we were filming a shootout scene in Rome in the streets, and they had all the cars and the crew and everything. You had Tom and Haley and Shay and Palm and everything, and we're doing it, shooting, bang, 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 bang. And then they say cut, and I look around and I'm like, yo, what I was doing in my mom's living room.
You had to look at yourself and like,
Yeah, it was the moment of like, I'm doing this in real life in a movie that I was watching all my life, in movies. So that was incredible. And I don't take it lightly, and I'm very, very grateful for it. I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be in this position.
Greg and Angela, thank you so much for your time today. We know you have a lot of these that you're going to be doing, and so we're certainly happy that you made some time in your schedule to speak with us. And Greg, you're working those shoes. I'm loving them.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
check them out.
On behalf of the world's largest group of Black film and TV critics, again, thanks, and we hope you enjoy this edition of AAFCA Roundtables. Have a great day.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Thank you.
All right, good seeing you, Angela.
Okay, you too, Gil.